Legit. The other day it burned me.
It burned? I told me that.
I took it off. No, you're putting it in. I took it off.
No.
I mean, take it. Why are you red? Oh yeah, it's me.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
Siempre comes arroz, aguacate, chile serrano,
And so, wait, like, is it?
It'll take me there. It'll be there in the fall.
What's the eye patch for, bro?
I don't know. I think Noe took us to like the set from the road trip. Oh, I had it all mixed up.
So yeah, still have your stuff. I will get that to you.
Other stuff.
We're not HTML? Not HTML.
Yeah, I got mine blue out. Right there with that gloss that you have. No, it stays in there. Hey, so what am I supposed to do with this? I'm gonna close the door. We have to, I think. It doesn't work. I think it's a work. No. It's forever. What you call
But you can still sell it on
This was the last one.
Don't put in your you're paying for them to do it, and it takes them 10 minutes. It's not like it's supposed to be faster.
Oh, yeah?
It's not that hard. Just look at what you got.
Oh, right.
It was hot. It was like viruses. Mentally, it was
I paid $90. They charge you like, it was like the first 3 or this much.
We're still considered juniors.
It's way past your.
It was $110.
There's still some. Okay.
Did you have stats already?
No, I
Not yet.
just got the book. When do we have it? Tomorrow. Or tomorrow.
I love Dr. Oyoyo. He's great teaching your stats. He plays racquetball with me every week, a couple times a week, so it's pretty cool. So you tell him to please say hi. I haven't seen him. He's been out of the country, and I've been out of the country. Oh, by the way, I'm just going to hand this out. So I brought you some goodies. You all know where I was, right?
China.
I was in China. So most of it is candy. There's even things like marshmallow stuff and some, I don't know, mango stuff and a bunch of stuff. If you don't want candy, there's a few of these little munchy things. So where should we start? In the back this time? In the middle. We'll start in the back this time. Anyone that
Did you get
doesn't want
that?
candy and
Actually, you're gonna be able to.
What's what? What's a munchy thing?
Yeah, but I got this one.
okay to be here.
I just want to capture that.
I tried another one.
And I ate it. Okay, that was all with my left hand, guys. Okay, I think we're all here now. How many of you know how an oyster creates a pearl? Do more people not know? So I'll kind of give you a brief overview because it's going to mess up my story. But what happens is an oyster gets a piece of sand inside of it, and there's an animal inside there, and it starts to irritate the animal in there, and its own natural body produces a little protective mucus stuff around it, and so as it grows, it protects it, it builds bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's how a pearl is formed. So I have a friend of mine that wrote a story, which is a poem, about an oyster. And so I want you to think about it as your life. Okay? Listen, dear children, and a story I'll tell about Cheerful the oyster who lived in a shell. He swam in the ocean and slept on its floor, all snug in his shell with a ruffled trapdoor. He thought life was wonderful, proclaimed it quite grand, but then came his trial with a sharp piece of sand. You see, it got into his shell one day, wedged so far in the back, he couldn't rinse it away. It scratched him and cut him and hurt so inside that Cheerful became tearful and cried and cried. Why is this happening? I don't understand. Did I do something bad that I'm stuck with this sand? You see, he was little and hadn't yet seen that sand plays no favorites, and the sea can be mean. But God heard the cry of his dear little clam and said, I will help you. Hang on, I have a plan. And little by little, beginning that day, God coated that sand in a marvelous way. And little by little, the pain faded too. He again became cheerful, no longer so blue. And God kept on coating that sand till at last lay a beautiful pearl wrapped around a painful past. And Cheerful grew grateful, seeing how much God cared to turn pain into beauty, a gift to be shared. And that was written by Sandy Backlund. Sandy is Dr. Backlund's daughter-in-law who works upstairs in Endo. For we know that all things work together for good to them that love God and are called according to his purpose. And maybe someday we'll have a boat full of pearls for all the pain that we've gone through. I'm reading this as much to myself as I'm reading it for you. I know a lot of you had a wonderful break. Several went on mission trips, good trips. I know many of you feel really confident in what you're doing now in clinic, and you feel like you just want to go after clinic now, and I'm excited for you. How many went? Because I didn't know who all went. So you went, Brian, where?
Right there by Eta.
Oh, cool. Africa? Where else? Honduras. Okay. Hello. Awesome. So do we have, can you raise your hands high? Because I think about half the class went. A third. A third of the class went. That's pretty cool.
Grace, where'd you go?
Me? Yeah, Honduras.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Yes.
I know when you come back, you feel like you just, I'm ready. Let's just hit this thing. So.
Your teeth are going to be bored before
True. Alrighty. Any prayer requests? I got it. Any prayer requests I can honor this?
You're 1%.
Thank you.
Prayer requests? Praise reports? Okay. Yes, sir.
Just to have a great, like a good quarter,
Yeah.
staying positive and like, you know,
I'm there. I answered that. Cool.
thank you.
All right, let's bow our heads. Father God, thank you so much for watching over us and keeping us all safe during our trips and our visits with family and friends. And I just pray that you'll be with each one of the students this quarter as they have more clinical time, as they enjoy what they've come here to learn. I pray that you will be with each one of the faculty too, help them to be able to guide and direct and help the students along the best they can. Thank you again for this class time, and I ask that you be with us and help us to walk through this process. We pray in your name. Okay, so I'm the bearer of some wonderful gifts.
laminated sheets.
Okay, so take one. Thank you. And these are from the back.
I didn't think very many
Okay. I won't show you.
Shelley, I'd actually like the ones coming back. Like the leftovers coming back. Yay! Yay! Gifts. Today's going to be gifts all day long.
Yay! Keep it coming.
So you know what to do with it? Are there any questions about how to use those laminated sheets? No? The one thing I want to say, and I know you've heard it before, and I'm sorry I'm repeating myself, is make sure the laminated sheets are completed, your case presentation, before you call for your instructor check. That means you collect your data on this, and you have this entire thing completed from top to bottom before you call for your faculty check-in. Okay? Because the first thing I usually ask is your case presentation form completed? If you say no, I'll say complete that and I'll come back. Because then that gives me an idea before I sit down. I already know what's on that sheet. I already know what I'm looking for. Okay? Next thing we have is clinic schedules. So these are updated and new, so I'm going to hand you those. Okay, couple of things to make notation of is for this first week. Couple of things going on. We're going to have nitrous anesthesia lab on Wednesday for clinic. So come in your clinic attire. Got to be in the morning. Miss Lennon says she's working on it right now, your assignment for your partner. So she's drawing those out of a hat right now. So we don't know who it's going to be. And I don't even know if we're doing anesthesia first or nitrous first. Do you know?
Anesthesia.
Anesthesia.
Nitrous Monday.
Okay, so anesthesia will be first in the morning. And then Thursday, Friday, we have holiday. So
Which are we giving?
it's probably MSA stuff that you haven't really gone over. Maybe interpapillary, IO, stuff like that. Okay, and then Monday we're going to do nitrous on each other. Okay, so that'll be a good review before you see your patient. All right. Monday on the 15th from 3 to 5, there will be no clinic that day, but we are required to be here to for careers in dentistry. How many of you went to careers in dentistry? So several of you have. So we're going to be helping with careers in dentistry. You are required to bring your OHC typodont, that's the little typodont with the clear gums, and then you're going to bring your regular typodont for scaling, because I think we're going to be scaling. And then if it changes, they'll let you know, because this is, last year we had it in the Nobel lab, so we were able to do some of this. I heard that we're going to do it in 1101 and 1102, so I'm not quite sure. If these change, they'll let you know, but that's what we were told. Yeah.
You get service on yours.
Oh, that's a good idea. Why don't you talk to Miss Wilkins or Miss Marshall when she comes back in? Thank you. And see if you could do that. The question was, can we get service learning hours for that? So let's bring that up. I think it's a fair question. But here's the deal. It's clinic time, so I don't know what she's going to say. But anyways. Couple of other important dates on here. On July 22, you will be having a mandatory Victorville orientation from 12 to 5 p.m. up at the Victorville Federal Prison. So you will be working up there. There's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done. Thank you. Before you go there, Barbara or someone will come in and talk with you about that, because you have to be federally cleared. That means figuring out different things that you have to have in order to say that you can go there. So you're going to have like passports or IDs or other things that you're going to need to clear. She'll get that paperwork to you, and then you'll turn that in back to her. On August 1st, you will be having your promotion competency, your OSCE. Yes.
For the Victorville orientation, do we meet here shuttle over?
You will carpool together.
Okay.
There's no shuttle. The promotion exam is your promotion from your junior year to your senior year. And I'm going to give you a little bit of idea of what that involves. In the morning, you'll be having that in Nobel Lab. You will be doing treatment planning. They'll give you a whole case. They'll give you probing decks and photos and all the good stuff. You can just throw it up here. Oh, you didn't get it? Sorry. Did you get one?
Yeah.
You have two. So you will be doing a whole case and then coming up with a treatment plan. So that will be in your morning session. The afternoon section you will be doing in clinic. And that does anything from setting up your chair, flushing the lines, doing whatever, getting all the right barriers on. And it's time. You're doing an EOIO on your patient. That's time. I think you're doing anesthesia. on your patient, that's timed, and then you're breaking down the chair, that's timed. You also have oral cath on that too. They will show you a lesion, you'll have to identify that lesion. So, and Miss Lennon is coming in to seminar to go ahead and give you an orientation on what's expected. She'll do a couple of practice cases with you and get that going. She's in charge of the junior OSCE's promotion exam. All right. That is in the afternoon. If you do not pass, you all know we have remediation. So on the 15th of August, you'll see on your clinic schedule, that's OSCE remediation day. If you pass all sections of the OSCE, you will not have to come that day. And that will be in the afternoon. On August 22 and 23, there are 2 days that you will be doing an adult prophy competency. I'll give you more information about that coming up, as you see in our course schedule. That's coming up, not this week. And next week is, well, we have a holiday, and then that week after, I'll be talking about that. Okay, so you're going to need to look for an adult prophy patient. September 2nd is Labor Day. There's no school that day. And September 9, no final exam for me. I don't know if it's 9 or whatever my day is because it's switched, so it may be on a Wednesday. But there will be no final exam in here. Clinic completion day is September 9. That's on Monday. All comps are due by the end of clinic completion day. So if you have gotten your comps back from Barbara and they're in your mailbox, some of you realize that there were comps that have been sitting in there because something is incomplete and didn't realize or thought you had all your comps, but they weren't there. Make sure you check your mailbox regularly, especially when a clinic report comes out. You'll notice, hey, well, I got that comp. Go check your mailbox. She may have sent that back to you. All right. I think that's it for the clinic schedule. Any questions about clinic schedule? Yes.
To remediate last quarter's anesthesia. When is that?
She's going to be talking about it as well. She's supposed to be in here as well. Miss Lennon. Yes, Sarah?
Which day are we going to have
OSCEs are on August 1st. It's called Promotion Competency. Yeah, and it's over morning and afternoon.
That's for partners, correct?
In the morning, it'll be individual. In the afternoon, it'll be a partner that you're giving your anesthesia on setting up a chair. You both will be setting up chairs because you'll do 2 chairs. Okay, and we'll hear more about that in seminar class. Okay. Alrighty, put our schedule away. A couple of things I want to remind you about: Canvas announcements. Make sure you check Canvas announcements pretty regularly. I have loaded up a bunch of announcements scheduled to come out at particular times in there. So I know if you've been on Canvas, you already have seen that I have several announcements already in there. And then with the discussion board, the discussion board date is going to change when it's due. It's going to be due Monday morning at 8 a.m. The reason being is I don't want you to mix weeks halfway through, like on a Wednesday. It worked that way because we had Wednesday clinic, and I gave you the whole week. But this time you have clinic all the way through. I'm going to ask that you please put an alert in your calendar to remind you to write in your discussion board. I will not be unlocking it and locking it and unlocking it. Goodness me, I forgot. I think you're big enough now, 2 quarters, to go ahead and make sure that you do that. I know that missing one of those is critical. And I know at least one in your class that has missed that, and it dropped them a half a letter grade. It was off by that much. So, because they were sitting right on the cusp. So please put yourself an alert to make sure, because it will lock up at 8.
And we on Monday, right?
Monday at 8, if you want to jot that down. Okay. A couple of things I wanted to address about seminar. I took what you guys wrote about clinic and seminar, and still yet I got people writing in seminar what was for clinic, but I got the gist of what you were saying, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about seminar. Any seminar class that you have, whether it's here or in dental school or in residency, if you have a seminar class, it's 2 hours for 1 unit. 2 hours for 1 unit. That was an issue that came up in when you guys did your survey. Why is this 2 hours for 1 unit? That's what a seminar class is. They're all like that. I didn't set it. No, this was not my first seminar class that I had with you. I've been doing seminar class for 10 years at least. So I know some people thought that was my very first one. I really hadn't. I wrote to Miss Ellington when I was in China because I was reading the reviews. And I said, Miss Ellington, I said, do you do homework in your class? Your seminar class? She said yes, every week. We'll have a homework in seminar. I said, oh, I gave 1 homework assignment. I said, Miss Ellington, are you giving quizzes in seminar? Yes, I am. I gave you 4 out of 10 weeks. A number of people said, well, this should just be study time. I learned nothing in seminar. I was sad. I learned nothing in seminars. We have our discussion board. Why do we need to do that? Well, do you read everything in the discussion board every week? The majority said it was helpful, and I'm glad. I don't want you to feel like I'm capturing you here. If it's something that you don't want to attend, don't come. Just show up at least 75% of the time. The quizzes that you are taking, everything I asked on there was something that you should be able to do in clinic. It's not like I chose some random thing out there and said, let's just quiz them on this and see if I can catch them. I asked you to soap a couple of things. I asked you what soaping meant, all of that. And that was learned in class here. Had we not had seminar, and I just threw something up in an online thing without a lecture, could you do that on clinic? I know a number of you can't even soap today. So, and does that mean you're bad? No, it just takes some people longer to learn than others. Some people have a harder time with computer stuff, and so we repeat some things. I know that a lot of the things that I repeated, like treatment planning or clinical protocols or OHI, that was presented in pre-clin, but now it's applicable because you get it. And you know what? Somebody else is going to repeat it this summer. You're going to have all of that repeated again, and we just keep building on it. So I feel like what we talk about is justified. I don't want to be here from 3 to 5. This is the first time my seminar class has ever been in the afternoon, especially 3 to 5. If I can, I would let you out early, okay? If I can, but I can't just say, oh, this is your study time and I don't have anything to present, because they ask me to cover certain things. I'm not just doing it to waste your time. I hope you know that. A lot of people said they thought it was really helpful to hear about other people's clinical experiences or to get extra information about stuff where you could ask. And I hope that's what that is. I want you to be able to feel like you can be open and ask and not feel intimidated. Some people wrote intimidating, that being in seminar is intimidating. That was useless, and they totally disagreed that this was beneficial at all. And I was really surprised, because if I took you up on clinic and asked you to enter in a whatever, or can you navigate this, I still think some people don't know that, and that's okay. but we're going to get through it and get to learn it, and you're going to build on it. So, I think it's helpful. And if you feel like it's not, don't come. I don't want you to feel that way. I'm going to give you that option this time. But there may or there may not be a quiz. Just make sure that you know the information. Some of it you can garner by just listening. Some of you can garner by looking at stuff online. Everybody learns differently. I'm very auditory. If I hear it, I will remember it. Some of you learn by doing. So if you do some practice homework, you're going to be able to sew. Some of you learn by visual. You just got to read it. Or see it on paper and you know it. Some people learn faster than others. Does that mean some of you are smarter than others? No, that's not true. It takes me a long time to learn things. I learn by repetition. That's me. Some of you look at it once. Awesome. Are you smarter or better? No, you're different. It's just different. Nobody's smarter or better. It's just different how you learn. You probably can do things that I can't do today. And you're probably better at me than a lot of things. I think there's things that I could do that I could do better than you. But does it mean I'm smarter than you? No. Does it mean you're stupider than me? No. It's just where we are in our life's pattern and what gift God gave you. So, yeah, some things are going to be repeated for those that need to be repeated. Some of you get it. That's great. That's awesome. Maybe those of you that get it really easily, especially in stats, I'm going to tell you, stats is a tough course. If you get stats, help your classmates, because you get it. You're going to need each other to get through that. So, okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit about clinic this quarter. You will have clinic every day except for Tuesday. A half a day every day. So you're going to have 2 full days of clinic. Floaters. So floaters, the idea of being a floater was, and maybe it's my fault because I didn't make it clear, there are designated floaters that were set for first quarter of the pediatric clinic. There are no floaters designated in junior clinic. So some of you felt like we should have more floaters, or you need to divvy up being floaters. The instructions are that every student is booked with a patient when possible. So floaters, you got to learn to chart yourself. That's just so you can get as much clinical experience, because when you go to private practice, you may have an assistant and you may not. And so that's the floater deal. So right now, you're going to meet your new coordinator at 2 o'clock. She's going to come down here and introduce herself and tell you what her expectations are. But as far as I saw, she's pretty well got almost everyone booked out for another 2 weeks. So we should have a better idea. I know some of the comments was clinic was very poorly organized. And they didn't learn anything in clinic. And I was like, really? In 10 weeks you didn't learn anything in clinic. So hopefully you'll get a better clinical experience. She will tell you a little bit about what the process is if you want to bring in your own patient. So that should help too, because I know some of you want to do that. Clinic. So last quarter, clinic was about protocols. What are we going to do? How do we do it? What order are we doing it in? Now I think most of you have got the order and down in your head. So if I just briefly said, the first thing you do on your patient is what? Health history. You're right. And the next thing?
Instructor check.
Vitals. Okay, you're right. And the next thing?
Check.
Okay, instructor check. But this quarter, we're going to let you do EOIO and then call for an instructor check. So we figure now, you've had MedCom, you got it down, you know when it's safe or not safe to treat. We're going to let you do an EOIO, and then so that'll knock out one instructor check. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. So you got the protocols, right? You pretty much have the order. This quarter, all about speed, and accuracy. Okay, we're going to ask you to step up your game a little bit and try to work a little bit faster. We're going to ask you to try to be a little bit more accurate. And that means on your probing that you're pretty much getting those right on. You can be within a millimeter and still not be considered a big error. Okay, if you're 2 millimeters off, that's considered a good size error, and that's marked off on a board exam if you're 2 millimeters off. So that's with your data. So working through that, exploring and calculus assessments, like now you finish dealing and you're going to explore, and then the instructor's going to come over and check. Missing fewer pieces of calculus, because now you know you can feel it a little bit better. Do you feel like calculus detection is better than it was first and last quarter? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now we're going to ask you to be a little more accurate. So speed and accuracy. All right. There's a couple of ways to do that. Yes.
Are the instructors wearing loops when they come up to us? Like, because I remember, well, for last quarter, not all the instructors wore loops. Because we didn't have loops, or was that just...
No, some people don't have them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, some people don't have them. My thing is I'm looking at this. If my instructors are wearing loops,
yeah,
I should be wearing loops. And if the people grading me on my board exam are wearing loops, I should be wearing loops. That's just, you can do it. I practiced for 25 years with no loops until I finally got them.
So, like, if we have a lower magnification than someone who's grading us, does that mean, like...
You'll see the same line.
Okay.
The same line is there. It's not off. And if you're magnified and they're magnified, it doesn't matter. The line is still there. It's just that they could see it easier than you, but you have the same line.
Okay.
The measurement doesn't change.
All right.
So speed and accuracy, working on that. A couple of ways to do that. How do we increase our speed? So most of you know that if you're working in the upper right quadrant, and you're sitting at where? 9-ish, okay? Where can you still sit in the upper quadrant and do that quadrant without moving my chair? Left lingual, okay? So jump from here to there, have the patient turn their head toward you, do buckle that side, lingual this side. Do you see? Because every time your patient, you say, turn your head this way, they go, and then they open their mouth. It takes too long, you know what I mean? So if you can just move this way through and then this way through, and you're working through that way, that'll help increase a little bit of speed, just a little. Okay. Work on the area that you can. Find a pattern. I have a pattern where I explore this way, this way, this way, this way, and find your pattern. Figure out where that is. Another thing you can do is if when you're recording or you're reading out numbers, especially for the person recording, the one that's reading them out, read out 3 numbers at once. It's easier for them to record and it's faster. Here's why. If you're going 2, 3, it's harder to record, but it's also, you need to get in your mind where you're starting to work. Okay, 3, 2, 3. And then move through that, call out for the 3 numbers at once. When you go to write it, let's say you have a bunch of 3, 2, 3s. Don't stop and write 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3 on your laminated sheet. Let me just grab this. If the first one here is 3, 2, 3, and it goes all the way to here, don't write 3, 2, 3. Just go like this and draw one line, and you know it's 3, 2, 3. Okay? Does that make sense? Where you're not having to write 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Just draw your line and spread it through. Some of you have maybe already figured that out, that you could do that and it's faster. Is that making sense what I just asked you to do? Okay, and then if it's 3, 2, 3, don't stop and record 3, 2, 3 and draw a line. Wait until the number changes. So if I'm going 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, all the way to here, and the next number is 4, 2, 3, so I'm going to do my 3, 2, 3 and then put a 4, 2, 3. And then I go write my numbers so you have it all in your head. Okay, So you're going to have to kind of learn to memorize some things in your head. Now, if it's numbers all over the board, 323, 423, 623, 555, 222, and it's all over, you can't do that. It's hard. But if it's pretty basic and you're doing a maintenance or something like that, you could do that at Profi. That'd be great. Okay. Another thing you could do for time. Let's say you're waiting for your faculty to come to do your data collection check. You can actually start the OHI process. And here's what I might say. So, Mrs. Jones, what are you doing at home to take care of your teeth? Are you brushing? Oh, yeah, I'm brushing. What are you using to brush? Are you using a manual toothbrush or an electric? No, I'm using an electric. What type of electric toothbrush? I'm using a Sonicare. Great. How often are you doing that? Oh, I'm brushing like 2 times a day, morning and you can ask me, when is that? Morning and evening. So you're actually starting that process while you're waiting. Now, if you are doing an OHI comp, you can actually tell your faculty, while we were waiting, we started our OHI comp, and here's what we asked, and then just tell them what information you got so that they can go ahead with that. And if they give you grief about it, come talk to me, and I'll talk to them, because I want you to move through the process, not sit there waiting all the time for the faculty. Then you could say, okay, are you using anything else? Yeah, I use floss once in a while. Well, how often is that? Maybe once a week. Okay, well, what type of floss are you using? Are you using a manual flosser, or are you using your fingers, or are you using some kind of tool to help you floss? Go through that process. Are you using anything else? Oh, I use those little pick things. Oh, the techie brushes? Yeah, that's it. Oh, where are you using them? Oh, I'm using them here. What colors are you using? So you're getting a whole OHI background before you even start your OHI. Okay? So just some things you can get to know. Also, when you're calling out numbers, back up. With your data collection, what I want to do is inform my patient what we're doing with the data so that they hear these numbers and know what they mean. So you could say, Mrs. Smith, I'm going to be going around and I'll be checking your pocket depths. That's the natural space that occurs between your tooth and your gum. There's a little space there, kind of like a turtleneck all the way around your tooth. I'll be measuring that area. 1, 2, and 3 are normal readings. Anything greater than that is there's maybe some bone loss or something occurring in that area. So the patient knows, okay, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 5. They know where it's at. So they'll go, okay, well, up in that upper area, and that may be an area you could say, oh, I got a little deeper pocket here. You might want to concentrate on that area, and it's happening right between your teeth, so making sure you're flossing or whatever you're using up there. So it's kind of working like you would in private practice, where you're not spending the time doing OHI per se, but you're doing it kind of while you're working, and that should be able to help a little bit. All right? Any other shortcuts that you're doing that you might be able to share with us?
Something that my big show me is that if I get to memorize the order that we go in the checks, instead of just following that, he showed me to do like some of like bullets and with the abbreviation, and then just do that. Look, what's next? This is what's next, and I don't have to go and read through the list again. This is what's next. Okay.
Correct, and that's why I asked you guys to rewrite what I wrote. I wrote everything else, so you'll know in detail, and then you write your little bullet points. That's perfect.
But what he said, how he showed me is to do it over here in the drag race.
Perfect. If that's what works.
It's just like you go through here, and he also said that with time, the instructor like you get set, and they pass by and they see where you are, and they don't even ask. They just know. So that helps too. So you don't waste time.
Anybody else doing something that's speeding them up? Oh, Nana was saying that his big told him to put some bullet points there, like short bullet points instead of having a 1, 2, 3 with it all written out. Just bullet point where you are. Like health history, vitals, EOIO, bullet point, because you're going to have another instructor check. Then you're going to have data collection, instructor check, bullet point, OHI. So just trying to get you through that instead of reading through all of that stuff. That's why I said make it short so you can look right away. And now you don't probably need that whole thing. You could probably write bullet points for your instructor checks. So rewrite those if you need to. I was just gonna think if I was getting too much. Is anybody else doing anything else?
You can fill out this. You can
Okay.
you can fill out this before, like you can fill out this top third or even see the patient.
Okay, so he's filling out the top third before he sees the patient, getting it prepped and ready to go. When was the last FMF? When was the last one? Getting that all done. So this leads me to this next thing. That is, we are going to complete forms for you to be able to get access for Axiom at home. Okay, I'm gonna hand these out, but don't fill them out yet, because I gotta tell you what to do. The one thing I wanna encourage you is don't leave your laminated sheets at home though, because you've got them there filling them out. So the part that you have on your paper that says, that's above section 3, do not fill out any of that portion. Just fill out the lower section. That includes your name, signature, date, and your title position is student, and then put your student ID number.
Today's the first. The first.
Your user. So name, title, student, date, ID number, and your signature, and then hand it down the row.
Is our username just our OUID, like our webmail?
Username is you, right?
Like what we log on to, or just our
No, you don't need that. You just need your name.
Just put your name. It's who's using it, not username. Who's using it.
So our name.
Yeah, it says who's using it. What they're asking is who's using it, not a username. So for Brian will put his name Brian. So.
I think the Lakers are in a toilet.
You go to the Clippers or you stay
You guys are haters.
They're gonna take it?
I'm not gonna go there. You don't like being there.
We need a super team at the Lakers. You agree?
Okay, so now you're going to have access to your patients. Remember that when you have access to this outside of here as well, that you have HIPAA issues. Okay, so be careful with what you're using it on and how you're accessing it. All right? So, ways to make it faster. Anyone else come up with a different way to make things faster? Yes.
Looking at your patient the night before.
Yep. Yep. And you know what? You can soak meds if you need to ahead of time. So, and you know, put them in a note to yourself, like pull up a scratch pad, copy and paste, and you just put it right in there. Kenna.
I know that Nano talked about the bullets, and that's kind of how I started last quarter, but by the end, what I tried, like I'm a visualizing person, so I'll kind of like close my eyes or just sit there and visualize like the task of what it is. So now, like, when I'm in clinic, I don't have to have anything that I look at because I just know, like if you
What's
can,
next?
if you can just sit down and visualize the steps, just like say them verbally to yourself out loud what the next steps are, then you don't have anything to look at and you just know what's happening.
Perfect. Yes.
Setting up the Cavitron before you start, like set up everything.
Yep, pretty much.
Because
You're gonna, unless you know you've got full data,
you have to set it up.
I would set it up and get it ready to go. Okay. Unless you're doing a comp, make sure your faculty's watching. Okay. Now, many of you have gotten your ultrasonic competency already. So the next competency that you do will be a senior comp. You must have some significant calculus in order to get a senior competency. So is that clear? You're either got moderate to heavy calculus in there and you're working through that. Then you can get a comp there.
So in that case, you wouldn't want to set up your ultrasonic because you don't know how much calculus your patient might have. And so then like you don't want to
Well,
have...
let's say you've already done data last week and you know today I'm seeing Mr. Jones.
Okay, so
then
it's
yeah,
not-
you'll know most of the time. And if you have a patient and they're new or you know you have to do full data, you may not get there, so I might not set it up on that case, but if I have somebody that already did data on last time, then I'll know. Okay? Right, yes.
So that senior comp with the calculus, that would be for next quarter. not
Next
this-
quarter, but you can get it this quarter. Remember, you can get things ahead of time.
So are we juniors?
You're still juniors.
Dumb question, sorry.
Yeah, still juniors for junior clinic, yeah,
Okay.
until the end of this quarter. The reason being is the academic quarter starts in the summer for like PT, all of those other stuff. You guys started in September, so
Okay,
that's why yours
Wow.
finishes up.
that makes sense.
Yes.
So I could even get all my ultrasonic comps for heavy calculus
Yes.
in the summer.
You could,
So one quad would be one.
No, so that they're watching you. Well, if you're doing quadruple planning on something, yes, you could. Sound good? I know one of the things that I read a lot was, well, not a lot, but I don't think we should have competencies. That was one of the comments, and I was like, what? How are we going to test you? Okay, so someone said that. Other people thought it was too much to ask for 4 competencies. But you know what? 95% of the class got all 4. The reason why we had you do 4 is if I let you do 3, that leaves you 8 or more to do, let's see, 8. It leaves you 9 to do in the summer. And people were scrambling in the summer. We had it 3 years and years and years and years and years ago, and the faculty said, no, they can get 4. Let them do 4. And sure enough, everyone was able to pretty much get it in that 4. But scrambling for the 9 after, that was the problem. And that's why we bumped it to the 4. You all did awesome, and I'm so proud of you guys. Even with the cut short, you went out there and you found it. And I know at times it was stressful, I'm sorry. But this quarter, I'm going to tell you by the end of the quarter, some of you are still going to be scrambling. And if I had you have another extra one, that's another competency. So don't wait on your competencies. Get them going, get them done, and keep moving through the process. It's never counted against you to practice. Okay? Never counted against you to practice. It's okay.
So this quarter we had 8 more that were required?
I think there's 12 or so altogether. And it's in your course notes as well. Okay. Well, I'm going to take the time now to introduce you to Adriana Acosta. Come on in. I'm going to hand out some papers that she prepared now for you guys. So I'll give you that. So, anyways, Adriana comes to us with a background. She has clinical and she like whizzes through Axiom. So if you have any problems too, she could help you with that. But you've been working here for how long?
A year.
A year. So a year here. And she's got some protocols that's on this paper and what she's expected. But just kind of give us a background about what your background is and clinical experience and all of that.
Okay. So I've been with Ovalinda for almost 5 years total. I worked for different entities, so now I'm here. And I was the new patient assignment coordinator for the main clinic. I did start out as a coordinator in the main clinic, but then I got switched to that role. But now I'm here with you guys. But I've been in healthcare general for at least over 10 years now. So yeah, that's me. And so nice to see all you guys. I do, bear with me with like names and all that. I'll learn them as we go. I do have your little roster here, so I'll start to learn you guys' names. And then just going over some tips and reminders for clinic.
Some of them don't have those yet, so hang on.
Okay.
Can you quickly move through and pass that around? So when we take you on our tour, we'll let you know where Adriana's desk is. When you walk from South Wing Clinic where we were and we walk in the main clinic, you pass patient business offices and you get to the dental school coordinators. She's that first window on the right-hand side. That's where she's going to be. So if you
walk too fast, you'll miss me. Literally the first one on the right. Okay. Does everybody have a paper? Yeah. Okay. So just first off, just verify that your patients are checked in. They do have the kiosk in the front, so that's typically where we want all the patients to check in at. For some reason, to know that your patient is checked in, their appointment information, so their name, phone number, all that stuff, should show in red. That means that they are checked in. And then if they're in blue, that means that they're only confirmed. And then if they're in green, that means that there's no confirmation, no check-in, no nothing. Okay, so that'll be your cue to just see if my patient's checked in. If it's in red, then they are checked in, so they are here. For any reason, when you get them at your chair, if they're not checked in, you can just come up to me and I'll check them in for you since they're already in the chair, and just remind the patients to check in at the kiosk right when they walk in the front. Let's see here. And then when you're dismissing your patient, just please remember to walk them out to my desk. And before you do walk them out, if they are going to need to return because you didn't complete all of your treatment, you can schedule the next appointment with me at my desk when you check them out, and I'll print out their appointment information with their date and time for the next appointment. If you don't need to complete any more treatment and just generate a recall, either 3, 4, 6 months, whatever it is, just make sure you have that entered in so we don't lose the patient, if they don't fall through the cracks. And then next one, just please remember to have all your progress notes, treatment codes, health history, vitals, perio charting, just have it all approved by an instructor. Just because after each clinic, if it's not that same day, that next day I will be auditing all the appointments from the day before. So you need to have all of that stuff already cleared with your instructor, okay?
So how will you know if all of that stuff is filled out and completed? Black.
Black.
So on the bottom, it's black. If something's showing
Yes.
up red
Or blue.
or blue, that means a faculty or somebody needs to sign it, whether it's a patient or the faculty.
You have extras?
Yes.
And that'll just hold up your process as well if you're trying to inactivate the patient because you don't need them in your family anymore. If any of those progress notes or anything still in blue, it's going to hold up the process. So just have it all done, try to have it done the day of.
And what status is attendance every single day when you're done? Complete.
Complete, yes.
Right? And then you have your, whatever treatment you've done, fluoride is either complete or not, right? Not in progress. But if you're not done, in progress, just appropriate
Right.
and black.
Yes.
Appropriate status and signed off black.
And then also pop-up notes. So anytime you click on a patient's chart, if you're selecting their chart, a little note will pop up sometimes, not on every chart. And it's usually about any financial issues that the patient has, if there's anything, if their picture is missing, if they need to update their demographics, whatever the case may be. Just don't ignore those. A lot of the times students will ignore it. And there's a note from PBO saying that do not start any treatment until patient pays balance. And then next thing you know, now there's 2 problems instead of the 1. So just always check those pop-up notes before you start just clicking cancel or whatever. Just make sure you read the note first, okay? Okay, and then so also whenever you need to come up to me for anything to deal with a patient, just please have, correct patient info, either chart number, name, date of birth, something. Don't just come up and be like, oh, John Doe, this one, there's a lot of John Does or whatever. So we want to make sure we're using the right patient. So just have correct patient info with you when you do come up for, to put an appointment in or whatever the case may be, okay?
And I'm going to make a suggestion on for the first month and maybe 2, when you come to Adriana's desk, you could say, hi, my name is Nano Perez or John Perez. And my patient, blah, 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 and chart number, blah, blah, blah. So she can get to know who you are instead of assuming she knows who you are. Okay?
Sure.
Is that helpful?
Definitely. And then also for any, I know anesthesia clinic's coming up. Did you get the info?
She's got it
Perfect.
right there for you.
Okay, cool. So anytime you're going to do, have days like that, at least a day in advance, if you can give me your patient info for anything. Okay, and I'll put it in the schedule for you. And then pretty much just make sure you check your schedules all throughout the day for any last minute changes. And then you can reach me, and I have contact info, the phone number, also my Axiom, my name, you'll just type in my name, and then through Outlook as well is at the bottom there for any questions or you need to contact me for anything. I'm here for you guys. You're welcome.
Anything you would like to ask Adriana? Yes. Sunshine.
Oh, if we had a family patient that we wanted to come in instead of a patient that you already scheduled us, how long before do we need to let you know?
Well, usually the rule is we don't like, if the patient's already scheduled with you, at least here it's different. If I have something available with another student, I'll go ahead and move it. But if there's nothing available, we technically don't like to cancel a patient that's already been there. So we can just play that by ear, however it works out.
Or you can check your scheduler now from Axiom and find out how far out she has you booked. And then say to your family member, hey, I'm available here, here, and here, what day can you come? Instead of giving your family member the free choice to wreck your schedule.
Right, yeah.
Also, how far out do you have patients booked?
I mean, I have far out is September 4th, but that's not everybody. That's like the farthest I've gone. For
She's
the
on it.
for the first week of clinic, the 10th and the 11th are pretty much almost all booked. The 12th, I'm still working on. I do have some gaps still, but hopefully I'll get that taken care of by the time you guys are on clinic.
So hopefully we'll have a good experience with clinic and having patients in your schedule. So don't count on being a floater.
Yeah, we don't want that. So I'll try my best to make sure everybody has a patient.
Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions, faculty? Do you have questions for her?
Email or paper better for you?
Paper. I'll take it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it manually. So.
Okay, so she's got the schedule for anesthesia. Any other questions as far as clinic goes? This is your seminar. So we're not having seminar on Wednesday. I'm giving you off. So get going. I'm hearing you and I'm really sensitive to giving you off. I've given you off for no finals for seminar last quarter. I'm giving it no this quarter. I hear you. And I hear what you guys are saying, so.
Is this the final schedule?
That's my understanding. Barbara just printed it out about an hour ago.
Okay.
So I see on the schedule that Monday clinic is 1 to 2. They're only an hour long. The clinic.
It's not 1 to 2. Where does it say 1 to 2?
The schedule that somebody posted originally just was, any block that we have is only putting it for an hour.
Oh.
Like it showed good class A from only 8 to 9.
So how long will our lab last?
Your lab?
I mean, I'm not lab. 4 hours.
4 hours. 4 hours. 8 to 12 or 1 to 5. Okay. Yes?
So I know this quarter, like we're focusing on improving our speed, but it's still normal that we'll have patients and we'll have up to 2 appointments.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. What I don't want you to do is take an hour to do health history. Okay? That's what I've seen regularly this first quarter, right, faculty? So what we're seeing, because I was telling them last quarter was about protocols and knowing what order to do them in. This quarter is speed and accuracy. It's trying to work up your speed and work up your, and it's work up your speed. It's not speed. Faculty, do you have any recommendations from what you saw last quarter that you can give them to increase speed? Because they're looking for ways to do that.
Well, those who are going to be in line for this, I will aim to be there about 5 minutes, 10 minutes before clinic, so we can have a little huddle and go over our plan, who's who, and who's going to need some priority as we prioritize you guys, so that way we can make our time the most useful, so you can get things done, and I can be available for you.
And I think most everyone is doing a huddle. Right now, so that they know what's going on what page. And the reason why we do it together is if this is my pod right here, if Daniel wants to do 4 injections, okay, Catalina's not going to sit there and go, why doesn't he have his cubicle for so long, blah, 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 okay? She knows that I'm there doing this for Daniel. You can get him after that. Okay, so you know what's going, and I know too what you have going, so I can say, okay, Daniel, wait till I check her data before you start your injections, and then we're free. We can have that time. So we'll shuffle stuff around. Okay. Anyone else back there?
I mean, every day is so different depending on what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So I think huddle is extremely important for us to help you be as efficient as possible. So,
And normally that huddle is, sometimes depending on your faculty, between 10 and 5 minutes before. Some will get there a little earlier, some will be a little bit later, but still usually before.
And if their patient has come, they never mind if you say, I just need to
Check in
meet with my group for a few minutes, and they seem to be really understanding. So it's valuable to just,
Step away.
even if they came early, to step away for a moment.
Ms. Lennon, you have anything?
You know, it's speed, but it's also, you just still have a lot of technique things and critical thinking to work through. So that definitely the Hubble helps with that. It's still just different. So let's throw as many new experiences at you as possible, so you get them here and are familiar with where you're trying to go.
Lucille?
Yeah, so feel free, Sophie, and we have some questions. We can just, we'll be able to email this.
Well, do it on clinic if you're soaping, but all the samples for soaping were in last quarter's class, and you have the notes from soaping. So, and everything from Lexicomp is just put it through. It shouldn't be any question. It's like, where is this derived from? That's why,
So you're going to do everything you can beforehand on Lexicon because she's just one woman. She's an awesome woman, but there's just one of her.
Okay, so yeah, so you want to be ahead of time.
you can, and what you don't know, leave blank until you get there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
don't
that's
bother
that's a
her
great
with
huddle
extra
But
work.
she can't have 400 emails. Sorry, that just can't happen. Throw myself in the way of that.
Okay, Manina?
Soaping has to be done before the first instructor check.
Yes, that's a good question. Soaping needs to be done before in first instructor check. Yes, if there's a floater, if there's somebody whose patient hasn't arrived yet, you could ask them, hey, could you soap this for me while I'm doing my EOIO? And I did tell them that they could do their EOIO first.
If you are a floater, I know you're not probably very excited to be asked to come soak, but it will all be payback time. Everybody will help each other. It just helps the appointment go smoother and more quickly, because if you're spending 15, 20 minutes soaking, your patient's sitting there, so it's much better if you can get a floater to do it, and we'll work through it. But you're really not supposed to move forward until that the patient's signature has gone on their medical history, and we can't get their signature until you're done editing, obviously. So it is a really important piece. So if you can do some of that ahead of time, just make sure you don't change it in Axiom. Just do it on a Word document and copy and paste or something, because if you change Axiom health history at all, then they don't come, then it looks like they haven't signed their health history.
And then it'll be open in your name.
Yeah.
So here's another thing. Soaping. A lot of people will have the same drugs. You'll see the same thing, lisinopril, you'll see your diabetic glucose, whatever. You know what you could do? In your scratch pad, have a soap of lisinopril right there. Copy and paste. Just keep it in there. Keep a couple of soaps in there. If you guys want to take, a drug or two in a group, and you soap this, and then we all put it in a doc. Okay, you guys could do that, and then you can copy and paste. So those are some things you can do to move through the process, because every time you soak lisinopril, there's a couple of things that might change. The milligrams, or maybe what they're using, or whatever, how much, or whatever, or what you noted in the patient's mouth. But other than that, you can use the symbols NEDT, which is no effect on dental treatment, and NMDT, no modification to dental treatment. That's more of the plan. So the P should never have a none. It should have, if there's nothing you're going to change different, then you're going to put NMDT, no modification to dental treatment. Okay? But never a none, because you're always going to have a plan.
Does everyone know how to print the patient's perio chart out of the chart on the paper?
What?
You go to the perio chart and
Out of Axiom. We have to figure it out here, because I was good at sending it to Jeanette. We can print those, and you can use it as your stretch sheet when you're doing course above. Right? They have 4 zillion. Or if you're doing full data, and guess what? Then you just mark down the changes. Right? And it helps you to do.
So what you would do is open your perio chart. There's a little printer on there, hit print, and you'll be able to print that.
And we'll figure out what the address is for the right printer.
Yeah, I don't know where it is
And
now.
be able to go up and get that paper. Who's done that with me? Right? So much easier. Because you just go, oh, that's a 2 before, and that's a 1. This, yeah. So much faster. Now, the important thing on that is, remember on the health history, I said no patient identifying information. Same thing on there, make sure it prints without their chart number or their name. So that you can just tear it up and throw it away. Otherwise, you have this sneaky thing that now needs to be shredded. And you need to do that.
We can just print that at home if once we have Axia, right?
Yeah,
Just
same
no
thing.
names on it.
Yeah.
You should have a shredder. You should probably shred it.
Okay.
Possibly. Okay. But yeah, just don't print any patient identifying info.
Students were wanting to know what injections are we giving on Wednesday, so why don't you go ahead and let them know so they can kind of review.
If you need Adriana's email, I have put her email in here. You got it? Okay. And
She gave it to him on a sheet of paper.
I have to go get the map for the old clinic. It's an old clinic to me because that's how long I've been teaching. Right?
Me too. It's been there. We used to be in that
I
clinic.
used to teach in that clinic. So, I'm going to go ahead and have you sign up. I feel like I should fling this frisbee style in the middle of the crowd, but
That'd be fun.
do it. And then she hit me with the clipboard. Here's the deal. We're going to have a certain number of wall plumb units and a certain number of the parts. Right, so partly you were on nitrous, plus it was, that quarter when, oh dear God, we're doing nitrous. Try to remember what kind of machine you did before. Hopefully you have some memory of it. And now sign up for the other one. See the difference on my sheet up there? Cart with the tanks on it, where you open and shut the individual tanks, or the wall. Do the best you can to sign up for the other, and then I'll just have to see. It might not work to do that because I'm not sure what the...
So this is what you're sending around is for nitrous for next week?
So you're going to sign up for nitrous. Now I'm going to show you right now the plan anesthesia.
Hey, AJ, we did
the cart. So, yeah, injections are Wednesday. And, let's see.
Where are we giving?
ASA, MSA, papillary infiltration, IO.
Wherever it be in
IO is anesthesia.
We don't do anesthesia, do we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, no, yeah.
We did the second after anesthesia class was in
And the issue continues with my display.
Does it need to slide over?
The IT representative go, please.
Can you help us on?
Don't extend. Duplicate. Thanks.
There you go.
Hey, slow down.
Does that randomly. Whoops, wrong one. Don't panic yet. Don't panic yet. There we go. Okay. So, what's new?
Non-dominant side.
My name's not there.
Oh, that's the easy
Oh, yeah, it is.
The non-dominant?
PSA, MSA, ASA, non-dominant.
Non-dominant. Wait, we're doing
And intrapapillary.
7?
Yep.
You're doing 7? Or we're picking from that list?
So we're
No,
each
you're doing all of these.
7?
Yeah, so you're doing an IA, a PSA, MSA, ASA.
Oh, okay.
Intrapapillary.
Well, that's still work.
Yep, I am.
Okay.
Okay, so I've evolved. I like the groups of 3 because then one person gets to watch, you know, and you get to see it from the outside as well as just be the patient. I think you get better input. So that's what we're going to do.
Is this a competency or like, are we?
New. This is just practice. Okay? So, remember I told you normally this was just me. It was just me all the way through the quarter sitting with a group of 4. So if you were week 10 and somebody else was week 1, yeah, right? So this is everybody in one day. This is your practice. Okay? The other thing we're going to do on the nitrous day is we're going to do remediation for the folks who were not successful the first time on the competency exam. You'll get that extra attention. Okay? So I'm not going to retest it. We're just going to remediate it.
On nitrous day, the ones that need to be remediated, are we going to do the, are we still going to coin toss? It could be either one, or will it be the same one that we did last time?
It'll be the same one you did last time. And I'll set up a schedule for that.
For the remediation. Yeah.
Once y'all sign up, I'll figure out a schedule for you to do the nitrous and the remediation.
So, this might be from the jet lag from this trip, but I'm getting a little confused on what we're talking about.
Okay, Wednesday, we're doing this.
I know that, but the question
Monday,
is why.
nitrous for everybody. Okay? Also Monday, once you have all signed up, I will make a schedule of the people who didn't pass everything for the competency exam. I have to juggle machines, plumbing, sorry. So it wasn't jet lag, but I did drive all day yesterday. So Santa Cruz is lovely. I know you knew that. But I will have a schedule of people who just need to practice again, whatever they didn't pass on the competency exams. We will not retest, we're just going to remediate. Right? On Monday, during nitrous. We have to have that all happen in the 4 hours.
Okay.
Okay? But I have to see what the map looks like in the new clinic, old clinic, before I can say for sure.
And we're just going to be remediating that, like, one injection that we didn't pass if we missed one or something.
Yep. Okay, question? Right, so it won't count as a competency, it's just got to practice you up so you're really confident.
And when Miss Lennon has you all remediated, she will give me that list and I will check it off in your comps. Okay? So I will keep that updated. I try to update that as often as Barbara gives me the printout because I don't know what those are. I know some of the comments were, why don't you update it every week? Well, I can't because Barbara hasn't done much
Again,
to do
just
that.
one minute. You know how many secretaries most departments have, right?
For this nitrous lab, you have it saying in the morning, but we have
I'm
class
sorry, scratch that
just
out.
one. So instead of, so health history at 1, starting
Yeah.
at 1:30.
Just go right now with that pen on the times they go. For me. Okay. Did somebody steal my pen already?
Did you take it, AJ?
No. That was fast. All right, that was great. Okay. So, maybe I dropped it in the back. So, if you didn't pass the PSA and your non-dominant PSA looked awesome, then I'm not making you do it again. So know that.
Copy that.
Okay. Because less poking, the better. Okay, questions? We're good? Non-dominant, this is just practice. Only practice.
I have a question. It was from our injections last quarter. I don't know if we passed both. We were going to get a comp, but what was the comp for? Or which one
For
was-
your all, so just counted as one of the 4 competencies you needed.
Okay.
So they,
It's like a general.
It's a general check mark that you
Yeah.
finished this, because that's, like we said, we're not individually, we're not grading them. You did this, you finished. That's why you all have checks. in this
Right.
box. Sarah?
So, for example, I had to nitrous scan last, I think.
So do the
So,
roll.
I
they choose the wall density?
Right, and I'll do my best to accommodate that. I have to see what the plumbing, I don't have a map of the plumbing up there to know for sure if we can do all that.
I think I do.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
If I have it in my steps.
Okay. Other questions? Sunshine's like so many questions.
Well, I was just curious if we were able to get the same instructor that we had for our injections.
To do the remediation?
Yeah.
I will.
She'll try. She's trying to do plumbing. She's trying to do the remediation.
Okay, never
and
mind.
instruction.
I will do my best because I do like that to happen.
Okay.
I will do my best.
I agree with Sunshine.
Yes, I always do try to have you see the same person. So after today, when I have plumbing figured out, then I will try to make that happen.
So that means you have to come meet.
Request.
We're good. All right.
All right, so are there any final questions about junior clinic and what is expected? One of the things said that the expectations were not clear. The competency was not clear. I didn't know if it was, they totally disagreed, strongly disagreed, that it was not clear. I did not get the help that I wanted in seminar. I'm asking you now, what do you need? What can I help you with? Yes, Hannah.
I'm just still unsure of where clinic is now.
Well, I'm taking you right now.
Oh, we
We're
are
going on a tour.
Like we just keep saying this in this spot.
Yeah, we're going on a tour.
Wait.
You know what? I would set it up, and here's why. There's a couple of things you can do in a set-up chair. One, if a patient walks in, you may get a patient. Two, you can practice injections with somebody. Three, you can set up your Typodont in that chair and practice scaling in a chair if you want to. So I'd say yes, unless somebody needs a chair for somebody.
No center class on Tuesday then.
Wednesday?
On Wednesday.
Can we not leave until I get my clipboard back?
We did it today. They wanted you to be orientated and know what's going on. No. So what I want you to do is pack up your stuff and follow me, and we'll head up to that clinic. Okay? Right now.
Where's my clipboard so far?
Ooh, she's steaming.
I slipped one out.
I'm gone.
Are you guys all ready to go?
Next week you're on, and you're back the week after. You're back the week after.
Okay.
That's when you turn it in. So it's nothing stressful. You write it down, you put it in the thing, you take questions, and then you write it to your teachers.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, I
No
just,
stress. I just wanted to let you know.
I know,
It's okay.
they made me stress the program.
That's okay. As long as you give me a heads up.
Working out?
No, I got it.
Math.
No, I was going to do some cardio today, so.
You're gonna go with me today?
Are you going?
I'm going right after this.
Oh.
Hey, let's open the door and get out of here. Yeah.
Let's do it. Did you know that you had a seat right there? Hey. You ready for
Living here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, actually, for this, I wouldn't need that. Do you want to be with me since we're doing the 9th?
Oh, yeah, yes, that's right, let's do it. Process, what time is it?
I think they're all 1 o'clock.
They're all the same.
We're all showing up.
There's one more spot.
Right, I don't know.
What is 9? I know.
But it's
I'm not gonna do it. I'm already tired.
Yeah, thank you for that.
You need water. Yeah. I didn't know any change. He didn't change that. That's cool.
I didn't want them to do it. I don't think they would, but you know.
Oh, wait till that. Guys, I bought a blue, light blue or something. Oh, you did? Yeah. I bought a light blue.
Oh.
Like,
I think it would be very beautiful.
So here's this is what I did on my right.
Oh, yeah. I have one. Yeah.
Yeah. No, out here.
We just never
Never.
Yeah, the little.
Upstairs? Well, upstairs. Upstairs is sunshine. Yeah.
I'm really upset. Thank you.
Finally just grabbed you guys onto the little upstairs.
Yeah.
You know, it's the little.
Yeah. Or no,
Yeah,
it's
there.
out. I don't know. This way.
Yeah, let's go with the pool. That's really neat. I didn't know they did that.
I just started. It's a flamingo.
If I mention my name here, how I can figure it out? Oh, it's a wall one, but I want to do the wall.
Tomatoes.
I had
I
a
have
10.
to do that one. Never mind.
You want this one or
Yeah.
this one?
It is half black.
Thank you. Is that okay, Trish?
You guys switch it.
Yeah, this one or this one?
My daughter has it.
Because I didn't have a wall.
650 square feet.
There's like one floor, like that.
No, that's in time, right? I think they're all figuring when you. I just.
So, we got the,
Thank you. Doing the injections too?
next week, probably.
I still can't get that.
But,
I ate. No, I haven't.
Is that what
or, thank you. We, the 11 sisters on the beach.
Your blood sister?
Oh. You have two more sisters.
Yeah, 2 sisters. And
You're the
this
tallest?
is my older, oh no. Yeah, she's not, they're both occupational therapists. So she's oldest, I'm second, this is the baby.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have two brothers between me and
Oh, wow.
So it's boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, right?
So,
Miss Landon, for IA, someone do it faster than me, I'm okay. If not, I get a gap.
yeah, we're good.
I still don't know. Yeah, I.
How many, we're gonna see if maybe.
One more question. So I was in the admission meeting. Happens to be flat. Do you know? Come up from. So, most of them they had the yellowish one. When I removed that, it had I found the black one under it.
So that's from the red blood cells.
But they didn't come up with that. That one hurts? Or that one down? How you got?
I couldn't do it. I felt so. Because I yelled all the time.
water. I didn't want to bring it upstairs in clinic because they'll get upset. And